She is the most popular girl in her group. After facing serious bullying online, she decides to go home. Her brother, Ajin, also gets bullied at school. When someone insults Ari, he loses his temper and fights back. The next day, Ajin and their mom had streamers harassing them for comments about Ari. Ajin wanted to escape the chaos while Ari stood silently on the balcony. Fed up, Ari decided to bail on the chat. Ajin tried to reach out to her, but one of the streamers shoved him. Furious, Ajin smashed the guy's phone, and a fight broke out. Remembering all the crap his sister went through, he lost it and beat the guy up pretty badly, yelling that everything said about Ari was false. Ari, watching from a distance, felt guilty and left the chat. Ajin felt heartbroken because he thought he had disappointed her. A few weeks later, the bullies tried to bother him again while Minjae recorded it, but Ajin stayed calm and didn't react. Then, a girl he didn't know walked by and asked when he would start standing up for himself because the people who picked on Ari were still at school. Minjae was on a call when someone called his video pointless. Suddenly, a girl appeared behind him and coldly asked how much it was worth. When he reached out to grab her, she didn't hold back.
There's this whiz girls group full of badass chicks serving their country with fan services. Their fan base is made up of grown men who are just pouring their hearts out and enjoying every moment. The leader and main vocalist is Lee Ari, a 17-year-old minor. While all this is going down, her mom is just watching everything unfold on the TV. The main character heads out, telling her to whip up some snacks. And here's the kicker. Ari is actually his little sister. Things start to get interesting when she comes back home and leaves the agency. Officially, they say it's because of her health problems, but really it's all about the fake news on YouTube accusing her of stuff like school violence and even dealing drugs. He reassures her that he knows she's not into any of that and is confident it's all just a bunch of lies. He believes if they stick together as a family, they can get through anything. But then reality hits. People don't really take Ari's word for it. This messed up world just wants to believe the gossip created online. Now even his benchmate won't even say hi to him. His name's Lee Ajin, and this jerk Gitai, along with his chubby sidekick, started messing with him. That loser is making fun of his sister and really going in on him, asking if he's got some kind of celebrity disease. He keeps asking if he feels like a star. Our guy just tells him to shut up, but Gitai isn't letting up. He just keeps yapping away, even asking for his sister's number. Then he starts trash-talking about his family, whining about how they need cash to cover some fine and wondering how his mom and sister can scrape by. That really fires our guy up, and he grabs him by the shirt, shouting for him to shut it. Gitai, thinking he's got some real guts, starts asking how much of his sister's number he needs, which just makes our guy totally lose it. Right when it looks like he's about to throw a punch, he dodges it, grips the thug tight by his shirt, and lands a killer headbutt that breaks his nose. Gitai gets totally caught off guard, and his crew starts mocking him, calling him a loser. Just when Gitai is dead set on taking our guy out, someone jumps in to stop him, and they're seriously fuming. This person charges up from behind and tells Gitai he's gone too far, then gives him a hard slap to drive the point home. Everyone in the class is left stunned, and that person is Minjae, the leader of a group of delinquents. He calls out Gitai, mentioning that his family is broke while Gitai talks about paying compensation and throwing punches like it's no big deal. He asks Gitai why he's talking about money and hitting people when he knows his family's in trouble. Gitai is clearly holding in his anger and starts bragging about how thankful he is for Minjae. Our guy just watches all this go down, and then Minjae heads out with a wicked grin, making our guy feel completely frozen. When he gets home, his sister is freaking out from all the crazy news she's been watching. He snatches her phone and tells her to quit tuning into that nonsense. She snaps back, asking if he even bothered to watch the video and why he doesn't just comment that it's a load of crap. That's when their mom steps in, and Ari, losing it, even hits her mom with her phone. He tries to understand what's going on, and mom tells him that Ari must be having a tough time. Their family thinks time will fix everything, but it looks like Ari's mental health is just getting worse. She ends up locking herself in her room. Our guy keeps trying to chat with her, but she just ignores him. A few days later, right before he heads to school, he notices some reporters hanging around outside Ari's place. It's like a perfect opportunity for a live stream, and these awful reporters just start throwing all sorts of traumatic questions at Ari's family. They even ask if her family helped her get into illegal drugs, but our guy and his mom stand their ground. Taking a deep breath, his mom tells them that her daughter has never done anything like that, and she wouldn't ever get involved with drugs. Our guy wants to tell her to just ignore those trashy reporters. From the balcony, Ari is just watching everything unfold, and she's a total mess, crying her her eyes out. Meanwhile, that annoying reporter won't back off. At that moment, our guy realizes how tough things are for his mom, and he knows he needs to step in and help ease her load. But it's already too late. He's trying to get away with his mom from the crazy situation they're in. Even the neighbors have started to look down on them. Ari can't help but feel the weight of having to ease the family's burden, and honestly, she feels the same way. If only they could just go back to being the happy family they used to be. She thinks that if she could just disappear, it would mean she's reached the end of the line. Class kicks off, our dude is MIA, and the teacher notices it too. Looks like some of the students are just watching a stream instead of paying attention. Our guy is in a rush to rescue Ari from doing something stupid. Meanwhile, a bunch of people down there are just standing around like they don't care, with some reporters just trying to grab more views. As he pushes through the crowd to get to Ari, some lame reporter bumps into him, tripping him and sending him crashing into the crowd. That jerk starts live streaming it, calling him an asshole. Our guy totally wrecks that trashy streaming setup, and it sends the reporter into a rage. The reporter starts throwing punches like there's no tomorrow. As he gets hit, our guy flashes back to all the tough times with his family and the bullying he went through, and then he just snaps and hits back hard, smashing the reporter's jaw and sending him flying. The other reporters are just standing there in shock. He starts calling them out, insisting that she's innocent and that they've got no idea what it's like for him, not even able to go to school because of all these bullies. He tries to get through to them, saying they're just chasing subscribers and really shouldn't mess with someone's life like this. One girl in the group notices that something's off, while Ari is up above it all, just apologizing to her mom and brother. As people notice her moving, our guy tells her to stay still and takes off running. Out of nowhere, everyone's shocked when Ari falls to the ground right in front of Ajin. It's heartbreaking. She loses her life, and the trashy reporters are just focused on their views. She dies in front of a crowd who thinks she's not even worth mourning. Even now, people are still whispering and pointing when they mention her name. Our guy thinks he's just worthless for not being able to protect his sister all the way through. A couple weeks later, some students hear that their favorite channel got shut down because they filmed a racist attack. But they keep it together since our guy's sitting right there. He gets up and leaves, and Minjae spots him. He calls out to Gitai, asking if he needs some cash. He's really struggling with grief, feeling like he messed everything up and wondering if he should have reached out to Ari sooner. If only he had arrived a few minutes earlier, maybe things would have been different. He keeps beating himself up for praising her singing back when she was 10. Out of nowhere, someone throws something at him. It's Gitai making fun of him while Minjae records it all. At the same time, he's thinking Ari shouldn't have even gone to that audition. Gitai walks up and smacks him right in the face while throwing out some trash talk. The chubby minion starts roasting Gitai, but he just swings again, landing another punch. Meanwhile, he can't shake this thought. If he can't even protect his sister, maybe he shouldn't even exist. Gitai keeps trying to intimidate him with more punches. On the sidelines, Minjae's got his phone out, recording the whole scene. Once he wraps up, he tells Gitai that filming is done, adding that no one really watches those long videos anyway. While our guy is totally shaking, Gitai realizes he's figured things out. He delivers a straight-up brutal kick to Ah-jin, sending him flying and leaving him in pain before he heads out. As the three guys head downstairs, Minjae seems to be sharing some footage with someone. Gitai talks about spending cash on partying, but Minjae smacks him, saying he only pays up when Gitai actually performs well. Gitai insists he'll put in his best effort. That's when Minjae spots someone. A total knockout girl is coming their way, and she walks right past them to the rooftop. All three of them notice her, and Minjae tells the fat guy to get her info while the other guy is just lying on the rooftop, totally beaten up. She calls out to him, asking if he's just gonna lay there. He asks her who she is, and she snaps back, saying it doesn't matter. She mentions that the jerks who messed up his sister's life are at this school, and that totally catches him off guard. Meanwhile, Minjae is on a call with someone about the footage. The guy on the other end tells him that beating someone isn't going to make headlines like a shootout would, and advises him to record something actually worth posting. That really ticks Minjae off, and out of nowhere, that knockout chick shows up, surprising him. She asks how much the video is worth, calls him a moron, and reveals she's actually Nuna. Before long, she drops a bomb on our guy, telling him that the jerks who offed her sister are actually at the school. He's taken aback. She goes on to say it's a long story, and it's not just the kids at school, but also her aunt and uncle living next door. He asks her what she was doing when Ari was in trouble. She realizes he doesn't even know who she is, and she was just standing by doing nothing. But then she walks off saying she's got a lot more to spill. She heads down and says she's going to take it easy for now. She's doing her homework on our guy. She thinks this whole thing won't just stop with Ari's death and figures the next target will probably be him. Plus, she gets that he's not the kind of kind of person to let himself get pushed around. So she's pretty sure the bullies going after him must be tied to someone. Her plan? Start with Min-jae first. So when he's chatting with someone about selling the video, she jumps in out of nowhere. She hears him say he's trying to sell it and walks over, asking how much he wants. He's totally caught off guard by that and gets a bit confused, asking if she's actually interested in buying it. He throws out a price of $500. She plays it cool and flirty, asking if he can give her a discount. After that, he takes a good look at her curves and figure. He drops the price to $50 and then tries to make a move on her. But she doesn't hold back and delivers a solid punch right to his face, sending him crashing to the ground. Then she grabs his phone and says she'll get back to him for more details later. In class, the trash minions were thinking Min-jae might have gone out for a smoke. Gitai decided to step out for a smoke too. The teacher got on his case, but he just walked off like he didn't care. Then he ran into Nuna, and when he asked her what grade she was in, she got annoyed, bumped into him, and told him to mind his own business. Min-jae comes around the corner and yells at his buddy to grab her. Gitai asks if he really wants him to go after her, but Min-jae snaps back right away. Thinking he might score some cash, Gitai tries to sneak up on her, but she dodges him like it's nothing. He ends up crashing to the floor and gets caught off guard. She laughs at him, and that just makes him even angrier. Minji takes off after her, but she jumps out the window and lands on the ground. Those two idiots go after her, yelling for her to give back the phone. When they turn the corner, they're totally shocked to see her on this wild-looking bike. It freaks them out completely. She tries to run them down, but they manage to dodge it. She waves around Minjae's phone and says she's going to put it to good use. That makes him sweat like crazy. On the other side, our guy comes down and runs into the sensei. He bows to show some respect. Meanwhile, the students in class are looking down on him, thinking he's making the school look bad. Some even suspect he's mixed up in Ari's death, saying stuff like Ari was way too pretty for a loser like him to be her brother, but he keeps his cool. Down by the building, Nuna spots him and waves, catching his attention. He realizes she's the same girl he saw earlier on the rooftop. After a while, the three guys are chilling and smoking cigarettes. Minjae glances over at Gitai and notices he's starting to act a little cocky. So he hands him $50 for the coverage and gives him a nod of appreciation. Minjae is determined to find his phone no matter what. He tells Gitai to go get that girl right away because he wants her too. Then he hits him with the news that he'll pay him 20 times more for it. Gitai is totally caught off guard by that. Super pumped, he wants to know how much 20 times really is. Minjae says it'll be 10 million won and pushes him to get on it. Gitai gets all hyped up and says he'll be ready to break her arms and legs if he needs to. The other guys decide to go after that witch, but Minjae warns them not to mess with her face. Just when our guy is getting a kick out of thinking about how much Ari has struggled, he gets hit with some memories. He recalls that time he tried to confront those awful reporters but was way too late. No matter how much he yelled, nobody bothered to listen. Then he thinks of Nuna and realizes maybe no one really cared. Out of nowhere, someone whacks him on the head from behind. It's the fat dude asking what he's daydreaming about. He's here to ask something and pulls out a picture, asking if he's seen this girl. Our guy shrugs, saying he's not really sure. The fat dude remembers she was heading up to the rooftop, wondering if she might have run into him. Our guy keeps his cool and says he has no clue. Just as he tries to walk away, the fat dude starts trying to sweet-talk him, saying they've gone too far and asks if he can spare 5 minutes. Our guy is a bit unsure, and that jerk takes it as a signal to keep pushing. After a while, he realizes Gitai is actually running late. The fat guy offers him a smoke, but he's not feeling it and says he'll catch him at school tomorrow. Then, out of nowhere, that jerk rushes up to him, saying he just wants to chat for a second. Our guy shoots him a fierce glare, and seeing that, the jerk spits right in his face. He's about to throw a punch when Nuna jumps in, grabbing his hand from behind. The fat guy looks shocked, and she asks if he's never seen a hot Nuna before. Then she decks him hard right on the jaw, and he goes down cold. Seeing all this, our guy wonders why she keeps following him around. Just as she is about to explain, he is about to ask what she is doing, when someone arrives from behind and hits her in the head. Blood splatters over the scene, and she falls to the ground. Meanwhile, that bastard wonders if the bat is weak or if that witch just has a thick skull. Looks like there are about a dozen people, and it's actually Gitai who rounded them all up. He's pretty stoked that he caught her. He checks in with his sidekick, who mentions there's some tension brewing between the two. Gitai tells them to keep her alive. Our guy just stands there staring at her out cold on the ground, and he's reminded of when Ari lost her life. He looks pretty threatening in that moment. Right now, Gitai jumps in, calling out to our guy. He starts off by apologizing for what happened earlier at school, and then digs into asking about her, wondering if she's a transfer student or some gang girl. He keeps pushing, demanding to know who she is. But our guy just shakes shakes his head and says he has no clue. Out of nowhere, Gitai delivers a punch to his stomach, sending him crashing to the ground, totally stunned. Thinking he has all the time in the world, Gitai decides to lay into him. Just when our guy tries to stand up, Gitai slaps the back of his head hard and then lands a solid punch to his face. He screams, wanting to know who she is. Meanwhile, the other guys just stand around watching, probably thinking our guy might not survive this. Gitai keeps grilling him for answers, but he really doesn't know anything. So Gitai hits him again, smashing him back down. He tells his minions to grab that girl and check if she has a phone. The minions scoop her up and find her phone. Gitai snatches it from them, super hyped about the bonus. Out of nowhere, one of the minions screams that she isn't breathing, and everyone goes into a panic, thinking they're totally screwed. Some even consider bailing. The minion who hit her keeps asking Gitai if he's going to help, but he just brushes them off, calling them cowardly losers. He tells them again to check on her. The chubby one inches closer to see what's up, but Gitai decides to take charge. Just as he leans in, she suddenly bites his thumb like there's no tomorrow. He can't believe how hard she's biting. He totally freaks out when she kicks him right in the nuts. After that clean hit, she's all fired up. Then she grabs the dude who was holding her and goes to town on him. One of the minions sees a chance to get Gitai's attention. He grabs Nuna, planning to take her down too. Just as he's about to smash her, she locks down his hand tight. Before he can even process what's happening, she breaks his hand, and he starts screaming in pain. Out of nowhere, Giti wakes up, spots a broken bat nearby, and rushes over, ready to plunge it into her. But our guy, the main character here, jumps in and whacks Gitai in the face with a fire extinguisher, knocking him out cold. The minions are totally stunned. The chubby one gets really mad, but our guy just turns on the extinguisher, filling the whole street with thick fog. Both he and Nuna book it. She keeps insisting he let her go, but he tells her they need to hurry. Then she hops in the car and tells him to get in, leaving him totally shocked. After a bit of driving, he can't believe she's just a high schooler behind the wheel. But then she drops a bomb and says she's not actually in high school. She just has a baby face. Curious, he asks how she ended up at the school and who she really is. She pauses for a second, then keeps it simple. Turns out she's a cyber wrecker. That totally catches him off guard. He asks her if she's a cyber wrecker too. She's covered in blood and explains that in their line of work, they usually call them drivers. Then she brings up filming something like updates on the families of the school violence offenders, but he shoots her down. He's ready to lose it if she's even a little bit involved in his sister's death. She just smirks and tells him to give it a shot. But first, she wants him to hear the whole story about his sister. She reminds him that the jerks who killed her were in school. Meanwhile, Minjae is actually waiting, and that's when Gitai and his heavyset sidekick show up. Minjae quickly asks for his phone, and when Gitai takes it out, he grabs it right away. He says he won't give it back and wonders if he couldn't just take down that woman. Gitai tells him that she's actually a former pro boxer, which catches Minjae off guard. Gitai goes on to say that from her fighting style and punch strength, she's definitely good enough to compete at the national level. Minji starts to get why they both look the way they do. The dude with the big attitude mentions he took a lot of hits, even got knocked out by a single punch from her. Now Minjae's thinking there must have been someone else who floored him besides that girl. He can't wrap his head around the fact that a chick rode a motorcycle to school and took them all down. It's kind of hilarious to him, and he wonders if this is actually real. Giti tried to confront an Jin, but he pointed out that they didn't even know each other. Minji jumped in, saying to send him all the pics of that person, and the minions quickly obliged. To Minjae, she smells like money. Meanwhile, Nuna asked our guy if he knew which YouTuber started the rumor about his sister, but he was clueless. She told him it was Geico TV who kicked it off, and that guy's pretty famous in the scene. Our guy asked who Geico TV was since he mostly watches cute puppy and cat videos. Nuna explained that there are these cyber wreckers who seek out stories that could stir up drama and create controversies, just like what happened with his sister. He figured that's what went down and wondered if those jerks really make up fake stories. Nuna confirmed it. She went on to explain that there are others in their industry who dig up info and craft false claims for videos on behalf of the cyber wreckers, and those are called drivers. Our guy asked if those are the ones checking sources in their school, and she nodded, saying they're the bottom rung. She guessed he had seen the victim being interviewed about Ari getting bullied, and reminded him that the filming for that was right in her classroom. He asked if all the issues were connected to her, but she completely denied it. When he asked how she knew all that, she explained that they're in the same industry and hinted that there could be drivers among the students there. He's really desperate, shaking and clenching his fist, asking her to find them. He's totally set on taking them all out. Meanwhile, Min-jae's on the phone with someone named Hyung, asking if he's seen the photo. Hyung asks if he's talking to Min-jae while looking at a picture of Nuna. Then he wants to know where Min-jae got that photo from. Min-jae tells him about this girl who showed up at school recently and got close to their guy, saying she wasn't normal at all. Hyung then asks how much Min-jae made off that video from Ari's bullying incident. Min-jae says he got 1 million for it. He tells Hyung to get some school uniforms ready because he's going to confront that girl himself. Min-jae immediately bows when he hears what Hyung says on the phone. His minion, just standing there clueless, asks what's going on. He explains it's a guaranteed step up in the world. Meanwhile, Nuna and our guy get to her place. She walks in and notices he's acting hesitant. She tells him to come in and not be shy. Her place looks pretty fancy. She's totally wiped out, saying she feels like she's about to collapse. Ajin spots a family photo of her with her parents. She suggests he should rest too. He asks if this is her house, and she tells him it used to be, but now she calls it a safe house. She says it just sounds cool, plus being in the mountains makes it great for hiding out. She walks over and asks him about the picture, saying she was super cute as a kid, but he just isn't responding at all. She notices he's been acting so chill this whole time, so she starts teasing him. He tries to snap out of it, and she asks if he likes being close to his Nuna. He tells her to cut it out and pushes her away, but it ends up hurting her because of her injuries. He wonders if she's just another rich kid or one of those cyber wreckers, especially with that fancy car parked by her place. It's clear she's not your typical spoiled brat. He pokes at her, asking if she's trying to be a hero because she has cash just sitting around. She smirks, like she knows he doesn't really buy it. In that picture with her parents, he sees they both passed away, just like his younger sibling who fell victim to the cyber wreckers. That hits him hard. She says she'll share the whole story bit by bit. He decides to hop in the shower to help himself chill out. After a bit, while he's showering, a half-remembered thought hits him. It takes him back to elementary school, where everything was super noisy. Back then, he used to bug his mom about dumplings, and she'd tell him he can't eat them anymore. By the way, Ari totally loves dumplings too. His mom tries to freak him out by saying dumplings are made from leftover food, but she promises to get him some homemade ones. He still thinks they taste great, even with the so-called waste in them. Ari can't help but tease him, which just makes him really angry. He figures some YouTuber must have snuck in for a story or something. It blows up and even hits the news. He feels like that woman must have been just like him at some point. She's just chilling outside with some drinks and dumplings next to her when our guy comes out and starts munching on those dumplings. She playfully teases him about snatching them up, but he's just really hungry. She asks if he likes the dumplings, and he says he does. Then she mentions she's kind of over them. While they're eating, she compliments his fighting skills and asks him to teach her some moves. He's curious why, and he tells her it's because he wants revenge, just like she does. She thinks he's got it all mixed up and asks if Nuna got her revenge. He turns it back on her and asks the same, but she flat out denies it. As they enjoy the dumplings, she suggests they go after that revenge together. He asks her how it's gonna work, and she says she'll be his shield and he'll be her spear. When he hears about being her spear, he just raises an eyebrow, a little confused. She nods and adds, yeah, a sharp spear. While the shield blocks the arrows, the long, sharp spear is meant to stab right through the enemy's heart and neck. He jokes, asking what happens if the enemy shoots with a gun. She gets annoyed and punches him, teasingly asking if he's always such a thinker. He tries to play it cool, claiming he was just kidding. After his sister passed away, this is the first peaceful night he's had. This woman, Nuna, is dealing with her own struggles, and he understands what she's fighting for. All the doubts he had about her fade away as the darkness outside the window settles in that night. On the flip side, Min-jae tells his buddy they need to lure that witch in so they can hand her off to Jun-gu Young. Meanwhile, the heavyset guy asks if they'll be able to do something bigger once they pull it off. Min-jae looks at Gitai and asks why he's making that face, letting him know he better be on the same page. Gitai wonders why they can't just call Jun-gu out now. Min-jae reminds him about timing, questioning what he could possibly do with his sad excuse for a plan. Gitai claims he had something else in mind, which really ticks Min-jae off. Just as he's about to take a swing at him, Gitai raises his hand to stop him. He points out that he still hasn't been paid for the phone. Min-jae, still angry, explains he needs to get the cash from Jun-gu first. When Gitai realizes he doesn't have the money, he explodes. Meanwhile, the heavyset guy is just thinking that this is going downhill fast. Gitai keeps asking if they can just call Jun-gu out now. Min-jae is totally confused and wonders if Gitai really thinks Jun-gu is his friend. Gitai Gitai is like, why not just make one? Since he believes if they mess with their guy, Nuna will jump in too. Minjae's curious about what Gitai's thinking. Turns out, Gitai's actually planning to get everyone together in one spot. The next day, our guy is still knocked out when his phone rings. He picks up totally caught off guard, and it's Gitai on the line. He admits he missed the text because he was out cold. Gitai's like, we're with your mom right now. And our guy checks his phone to find a wild selfie of Gitai with his mom. Gitai then asks if he's finally awake and tells him to bring his girlfriend along too. Our guy, feeling all kinds of shook and pissed off, hangs up the call. On the other side, Nuna is knocked out, and he remembers her saying he'll be a sharp spear while she'll be a solid shield. Over at the hospital, those three jerks are waiting for our guy. Minjae asks Gitai if he thinks he can handle it. The big guy looks at our dude's mom and thinks they're crossing a line. This is when Jungu shows up, and Minjae immediately bows and introduces himself. Gitai hesitates but eventually bows too and says hi. Jungu wants to know if our guy is still missing, and Minjae jumps in to explain that our guy just took off with his girlfriend since it's morning. Then Jungu asks whose idea that was, catching everyone off guard. He emphasizes that this is a hospital, not a school, and repeats the question. Minjae looks pretty nervous, so Gitai quickly steps in and claims it was his idea. Jungu walks up to him and asks if it's all about the money. Gitai is taken aback by this, and Jungu slaps him hard, setting his nerves on edge. He brings up that Gitai mentioned seeing that girl at school. Gitai thought it might be nice to see her a bit sooner. That just makes Jungu furious, and he slaps him brutally again, saying he doesn't care about Gitai's excuses. Gitai is totally getting wrecked. Meanwhile, those other two losers are just hanging back and watching. Out of nowhere, the door flies open, and our guy barges in, calling for his mom. He runs over to check on her, and thankfully, she's all right. Then he starts freaking out at the minions, demanding to know what's going on. Jungu chimes in, saying it's their first time meeting face to face. Our guy's confused and asks who he is, and Jungu just says he's got some business with him. Now our guy's left wondering who this dude is. He spots the battered Gitai and two confused minions. Looking at them, he senses something's off and wonders why they're searching for Nuna. Jungu asks if they really said she's his girlfriend and if that's true, but our guy just stays quiet. Jungu presses on, asking where she is, but he claims he doesn't know her. Gitai loses it and starts shouting at him, but Jungu steps in and tells our guy to answer up. Our guy snaps back, insisting he doesn't know who she is. Jungu cuts him off, shouting that he's lying, then tells him he doesn't want to see his mom again. Our guy starts shaking. Gitai tells him if he doesn't want to get hit, he should just be straight about it. Jungu takes a deep breath and walks over to Gitai. He grabs him by the head and yanks him up, then slams his face down hard, making it pancake flat. He asks our guy if he doesn't know who she is and says he really can't stand liars. He keeps pounding on Gitai, which totally shocks Minjae and our guy. Jungu doesn't let up and keeps at it, making Gitai shout out, asking why he's getting beat up. Jungu finally lets go and says it's because Gitai's friend Ajin is clueless. Gitai is totally pissed off. He charges at our guy, saying he should have dealt with him earlier, but Jungu, realizing he's got some guts, dodges him and lands a brutal punch right to his ribs. That hits Gitai hard, and he crumples to the ground in pain. Then Jungu turns to our guy and casually asks if he wants to play a little quiz. He throws out the question of who he thinks killed Eri. Our guy is left completely stunned. Jungu follows up by teasing if he's dying to know the answer. Gitai is wondering why he's the only one getting beat up. Jungu tells him it's because Ari left on her own and really hurt her mom. Then he grabs Gitai by the neck and looks like he's about to hit him again, asking who he thinks is behind all this. Gitai starts piecing things together and realizes the whole story about this Jungu dude is pretty wild. Ari said she didn't do anything, but it turns out Minjae and Gitai were really involved. So Minjae was trying to get some dirt on a girl. He thinks that the guy who turned a bunch of regular school bullies into monsters is actually Jungu. Minjae took cash from Jungu to make a fake video about Ari, and that cash ended up with Gitai, the group leader. Then Jungu rolls in and tells Minjae that he needs to lie down for 3 months just to act normal again. Meanwhile, Minjae's curious about why Jungu wanted that messed up video, especially about Ari. He's starting to piece things together and decides he needs to figure it out for himself now. Minjae yells over to Jungu, demanding he spill everything about his sister. Seeing this, Jungu is totally caught off guard. He tries tries to hold in his laughter, but it just fuels our guy's anger, who tells him to knock it off and calls him a piece of crap. Our guy throws a punch, but it doesn't even faze Jungu. Instead, he keeps his cool and ends up pinching our guy's cheeks, teasing that he looks adorable while he's shaking. Jungu says he's busy, but will swing by again soon. Next time, he'll let him know who killed his sister, but even if he does, he just laughs and asks what our guy can really do about it. This makes our guy back down and drop to the ground. Meanwhile, Jungu tells Minjae to take care of Gitai, and he jumps right in to help. As the three of them are about to head out, Jungu suddenly remembers something and calls out to our guy, saying his mom better wake up soon to find out who's behind her daughter's death. He slams the door on his way out. Meanwhile, our guy is shaking but feels a bit relieved. Then, out of nowhere, the fat one pokes him from behind, totally scaring him. He yells at him, but our guy tells him to beat it since he's part of the same gang as those jerks. The fat one apologizes, saying he didn't think it'd go this far, and our guy asks him what he's talking about. The fat one spills the beans, saying it all started back in school when he was looking at some not-so-great pics. That's when Minjae showed up and smacked him on the head. The fat one was like, "Check out these photos, isn't she gorgeous?" Minjae remembered that rookie idol who just debuted and called the fat one a total weirdo for taking pics like that. The fat one admits he's the admin of the official Wiggle fan account, which makes Minjae ask if anyone actually pays him. The fat one clarifies that there was this rare enrollment picture, and YouTubers slide into his DMs offering 100K won per photo, but he insists, as a die-hard Wiggle fan, he never sold them for cash. That idea clicks in Minjae's head, and since he's all about cash, he tells the heavyset guy to hand over the account info. That's when he starts turning into a real monster. A couple weeks later, Minjae whacks the guy on the head, reminding him that Ari's at school, so he needs to go get new shots. The heavy guy realizes Minjae knows Ari's schedule better than he does. But their direct messages start drying up because they've already posted too many similar pics. Minjae punches the dude hard, grumbling that he should have taken some better ones. Then someone DMs him, and Minjae gets pumped, wondering how much this one will offer. The sender asks about custom orders and says he'll pay 3 times the usual rate for specific pictures. Minjae is taken aback by the offer, and the sender tells him he has 60 seconds to decide. Getting hype, Minjae mentions full prepayment and agrees to take the pics. He sends over the bank account info, and soon after he sees 3 million won hit his account. Out of nowhere, something totally surprises him, and he can't help but wonder if it's even real. He's got to deliver pics for 10 days, each with a crazy 24-hour deadline. Minjae can't contain his excitement and starts shaking. The bigger guy asks what's up, and Minjae spills the beans about how he's loaded now. These photos are what Jungu asked for. At first, they're a piece of cake, but then day 9 rolls around. That's when Ari's just chilling, watching some dudes play football. Minjae stands next to her, snapping pics like a total creep. He thinks it's easy, seeing Ari as just part of the creative vibe. The bigger guy still feels a bit off about it, but Minjae insists no one's getting hurt from some casual photos. Even though he feels sketchy, Minjae tells him to help out with the business. The last 3 shots are more specific. Ari with a female gangster, Ari smiling, and Ari holding a cigarette. Minjae wonders if the sender is messing with him, but Jungu seriously asks why it's suddenly so tough now. Minjae gets annoyed, thinking, how is this supposed to be easy? Meanwhile, the big guy can tell Minjae is getting tense about it all. Then Jungu snaps a pic of Minjae, which totally freaks him out. Jungu reminds him that now that he's taken the cash, it's time to deliver, and he even knows Minjae's real name. Minjae is totally caught off guard, wondering how Jungu knows his name. He asks him how he found out, but it turns out it just popped up during the bank transfer. Jungu then notices that Minjae looks really nervous and scared. Minjae tries to act chill, saying it's a big opportunity and he's not scared at all. He checks if they really need those kinds of photos, and Jungu confirms they do, saying he wants them twice. And that's where it all kicks off. Minjae really starts to get serious about chasing after the money. He says the picture he wants is gonna take a bit of time, so he gets close and even brings in a few girls, setting a 3-day deadline. He mentions the final order is 3 times the usual rate, which adds up to 900K all at once. The heavier guy starts to wonder if it's a bit sketchy, but Minjae tells him it's all good. He gets a bit annoyed when no one responds, but then he's hit with a surprise. He sees Jungu laughing at him, making jokes while also sending a cool million straight to his account. That totally shocks Minjae. Jungu says if their sales go well, he'll double the payment, and that really makes Minjae back down and agree. Meanwhile, the heavier guy is just left speechless. Ari is sitting in class with a few classmates who are totally buzzing about seeing a celeb for the first time. They keep throwing compliments at her and asking about her perfume and foundation, wondering if she knows a bunch of male idols. They're all all eager to follow each other on Instagram, too. Someone even asks how much money she makes, but Ari feels kind of awkward bringing that up. Just then, a girl jumps in, saying they should head to the snack bar. Ari hesitates, but the girl grabs her arm and pulls her along. Ari mentions her wrist hurts, and the girl apologizes, pointing out they're not even in the same class. She asks how long Ari plans to stick around at school. Ari responds that she's just here to keep up her attendance and asks what's good at the snack bar since it's her first time. The girl raves about their teokbokki and can't believe Ari hasn't tried it yet. Ari then admits that she doesn't really have any friends. That girl thinks Ari is hilarious and introduces herself as Ha-young, reaching out her hand for a friendly shake. They start walking together, chatting about random stuff while the chubby guy watches them. He's pumped to see his favorite idol up close. He tells Min-jae that Ha-young went up to Ari and they're getting pretty buddy-buddy. He feels a bit guilty about invading their space for a while. A few days later, they run into each other by the snack bar. That's when Ha-young shows Ari something surprising, a bruise on her neck. She mentions that her dad hit her again when he was drunk. Ari asks her what she should do and if it hurts a lot. Then, out of nowhere, Ha-young pulls out a cigarette, which totally surprises Ari. Seeing her reaction, Ha-young jokingly asks if she's really her friend. Ari says she totally is, and then Ha-young admits she's stressed and asks if Ari wants to take a puff too. Ari is feeling super unsure about everything, and Ha-young starts laughing. She says she knows Ari's an idol and is just messing around. Ha-young brings up being Ari's only friend and tells her to just hold it for her, insisting it'll help her feel relaxed, like they're smoking together. Ari is hesitant and even starts shaking. Ha-young asks if it's really that tough to just hold it. Finally, Ari stretches her hand out and takes it. Just then, a group of 3 girls jumps in, asking what's happening. Ha-young tells Ari to ignore them, claiming they can't challenge her. The trio immediately starts complimenting Ari's skin, thinking she's smoking too. Meanwhile, Min-jae is recording the whole thing from around the corner. Ari is stuck there with those 3 not-so-great girls, while the heavier one stands there unsure of what to do. Min-jae finishes up his first recording. After hearing all that, our guy is pretty confused about the footage. The chubby one starts shouting, saying that the pictures and videos Jungu asked for were all those clips. Our guy wants to know what he did next and what happened with Ari. That's when Nuna jumps in, completely shocked and realizing it's the same chubby guy. She kicks him right in the face, throwing him around, and then checks on our guy to see if he's all right. He's taken aback. She asks where the other bullies are, and stammering, he reveals that those jerks hurt Ari and Mom too. Nuna checks if he's okay, but he's totally shaken up, worrying about what if they come back and how he can keep his mom safe. But then she snaps him back to reality. He starts crying hard when he realizes it's Nuna right in front of him. His mind starts to blur, and she's completely shocked when he suddenly collapses to the ground. She keeps calling out to him over and over. After a bit, she steps outside and starts chatting on the phone with someone, saying she'll take care of the rest on her own. She also mentions she'll catch up with her friend soon. Once she hangs up, she turns to the scared guy who looks completely freaked out. She tells him to come closer, and he does. She questions how much of his story she should actually believe, since it's the same one he told our guy. Then she snaps and asks if he wants to see what happens when you get caught lying. Totally scared, he claims it's true. She wonders if she should wake up our guy to ask again, but the guy insists he's telling the truth. She glances over at our guy, who's still out cold, and then asks the scared guy what his plan is now. He says Gitai won't be at school for a while, and Min-jae can't do anything without him, but he hesitates to spill something else. He trips over his words, and that's when she smacks him hard on the head. She calls him a total jerk and says he'll pay for this. He's caught off guard and starts feeling guilty, while she says he needs to atone for his sins. He apologizes, but she tells him not to say sorry to her. Instead, he should apologize to our guy in the car and also to Ari in heaven. The scene shifts to his mom in the hospital. She wakes up calling for her son, but is shocked to see those 3 jerks right in front of her, recording. She asks who they are, and Jungu, speaking to the camera, says she's just leeching off her daughter's hard-earned cash like a cockroach. He then asks if she's not ashamed to be living off her daughter's dirty money. Giti chimes in saying this roach-like woman needs some discipline. Jungu adds that for pests like her, it's not about discipline, but extermination. The mom starts trembling in fear. Jungu raises his hand like he's about to slap her and tells her to toughen up. Meanwhile, our guy stands by the door watching the whole thing in shock. Suddenly, someone appears next to him, asking why he's just standing there. It looks like Ari, but she's acting super creepy. She lunges at him, asking if he's going to make Mom end up like her too. He freaks out yelling, but then he wakes up, sweating and gasping, confused about where he is. Nuna is sitting next to him, asking if he slept well and joking that he must have since the bed is fancy. He quickly asks about his mom and she reassures him that she's okay. Then she checks in on him, but he snaps at her, tears streaming down his face, and demands to know again if his mom is really fine. Nuna tells him not to worry. She's doing well. He snaps back, saying he can't believe his mom is stuck in that hospital all alone. He's worried that Gitai might go after her again, mentioning how Jungu said he had to go after his mom too. As he keeps pushing for answers, Nuna raises her hand and gently pushes him back onto the bed, staying on top of him while telling him to calm down. He's shocked when she brings up how Gitai tracked down his mom using his delivery luggage. But finding her right now is tricky. He asks where she is, and Nuna tells him it's in a place off limits to civilians, so she can't pinpoint it either. He presses on about whether his mom is okay, and she reassures him completely. He feels a weight lift off his shoulders and gives Nuna a grateful smile, even with her still sitting on him. She shrugs it off, saying a human shield should at least do this much. Just as he hesitantly starts to speak, his face goes bright red. Noticing his embarrassment, she wonders if he might be getting a cold. He quickly shakes his head and tells her to just move already. She smirks and asks what if she doesn't feel like moving aside. Leaning close to his ear, she whispers if they should just sleep like this, totally catching him off guard. He tells her to get lost, and she asks who shoves someone to the floor like that, while he shots back about who plays pranks like this. She keeps smiling, and he wonders why she's acting this way. It's kind of unsettling. He realizes he actually feels a bit better now, which surprises him. Then she says she should try to nap too, since it's still early, and tells him to get some more rest. Before leaving, she mentions they'll chat about it once they wake up, turns off the light, and he lets out a sigh of relief. But inside, he's still pretty shaken up and tense. Out of nowhere, she jumps back into the room all flirtatious and asks if he wanted her, his Nuna, to sleep with him. He's not having any of it and tells her to go away. That day at school, since our dude is absent, the teacher tells the class rep to let him know to swing by the staff room. He finds out Gitai got into a car accident and sees that the school's been a total mess lately. Minjae is just chilling on his phone while the other guy looks super anxious. Then, someone puts a hand on his shoulder, freaking him out. It's Minjae, who says they need to talk. The other guy is completely scared. Meanwhile, our guy is having breakfast with Nuna. She realizes it's Monday and jokes that their mom would totally flip for him skipping school. Then he gets a call from school, but Nuna answers, saying she's his cousin and he's sick, so he can't come in today. He just tells her to brush it off. On the other hand, she says to celebrate skipping school, she's gonna give him a special lesson. He looks totally confused. She realizes he must have found out about the guys who killed his sister and asks if he wants to learn all about cyber wreckers to go after them. He says, even if he learns, there's no way he can take someone like Jungu. But she gets all excited and mentions that there's physical training too, insisting he needs to toughen up like her to protect himself. He asks if she'll teach him that part too, and she happily replies that it'll just be the basics. So, their first lesson kicks off, starting with cyber wreckers. She asks him what a cyber wrecker actually does, and he quips if it's just people who chat trash online. He figures that trash talking is their thing, but asks what they're really after. She tells him he needs to get their motive to understand what they're really about. He speculates if they just want YouTube views or get a kick out of messing with clueless people. She laughs, saying that's such a typical high school thought. He's totally caught off guard when she suddenly lands a solid kick, but he manages to dodge it just in time. He's like, what the heck was that? And she replies that she forgot to mention there's also some physical training involved. Frustrated, he snaps at her to cut out the nonsense and focus on one thing at a time. But then she lunges at him again with a fierce high kick and he dodges that too. She laughs and tells him it's too late for just one thing, charging at him once more. She throws a punch and this time it connects, hitting him right in the face. He's shocked when he blocks her next hit with a book. He yells, confused as to why she's suddenly attacking him. Grabbing him by the collar, she asks what she's really up to. He takes a guess, saying she mentioned something about teaching him about cyber wreckers, and she chuckles, confirming it. Without wasting any time, she clocks him again and asks if he's having any fun yet. Minji can't help but laugh at the situation, even even though it feels a bit embarrassing. The guy drops to his knees, and when Min-jae asks what's up, he says he's done with the whole protection money thing. He just wants them to stop being bullies. Min-jae bursts out laughing, thinking he's joking, but the guy is dead serious. When Min-jae asks if he knows what would happen if he quits, the dude says he doesn't care, and even offers up all his allowance just to get out of it. Min-jae tells him to look him in the eye and asks again if he really doesn't want any cash. The guy is sweating like crazy and nods. Then Min-jae leans in and asks if he's willing to do anything. On the flip side, our guy's nose is messed up, and Nuna mentions that his vision is on point, but he just takes hits without fighting back. He asks if she ever thinks her training isn't quite right, but she brushes it off and tells him to check out the clickbait thumbnails. She says people can't help but click on those, and the more traffic they get, the more cash they rake in. Even the top streamers go live with that kind of stuff, acting like they're exposing others while pocketing donations. He wonders if it's all about the money, but she says that's mostly true, though some folks actually do things out of conviction, which makes it all a bit messy. She adds that figuring out morals and ethics in real life is tough. He figures that means he's got to learn while getting banged up. She laughs it off, saying no way, and reminds him that tomorrow is school. He's got to dig into Min-jae's motives and find some clues about Jun-gu. She also brings up that they're kicking off after-school training soon, which just leaves him confused. She smirks and says it's at an English Taekwondo training hall. The next day, as classes are about to kick off, our guy is at his desk looking really antsy. He can't stop wondering if everything Nuna said is legit. He's all tensed up, trying to figure out what to do next. He knows he needs to get to the bottom of Min-jae's real motives. Clenching his teeth, he's feeling determined that no matter what, he's going to uncover the truth and hear it straight from him. On the other side of the building, Nuna keeps an eye on him. She's on the phone chatting about him. The person on the other end is digging into Jun-gu's background and spills that before hitting it big on YouTube. He was an MMA fighter who once put both his first opponent and a referee in a coma. They warn her to stay away from him. Then they remind her not to let her guard down and to be cautious of strangers. Not really trusting people, she wraps up the call once she's had enough of the lecture. At school, our guy corners Min-jae and slams him against the wall. He tells him he knows everything and demands to find out what he did to Ari and her family. He's super tense, almost ready to take him out right there, but he holds back and asks one thing first. Does Min-jae even feel sorry for Ari? Then out of nowhere, tears start streaming down Min-jae's face, landing on his hand. That totally catches him off guard. He realizes Min-jae is really crying and apologizing. Min-jae says he would have accepted getting killed without a fight and that his sins are just unforgivable. Our guy's had enough and tells Min-jae to shut up. Min-jae fires back, saying he's not going to beg for forgiveness. Our guy yells at him to cut it out and pulls his hand back like he's about to throw a punch. He screams again for him to shut up, but ends up hitting the wall instead. Looking all kinds of furious, he gives Min-jae a warning, saying this is the first and last time. Min-jae drops to his knees, actually saying he's really sorry. Meanwhile, our guy keeps shaking, turns around, and walks away. Min-jae is still on the ground, shaking, but it's all a ploy. He suddenly bursts out laughing, calling our guy a total idiot. Fatas jumps in, and Min-jae asks if he got it on camera. He says he did. Min-jae wants to see the footage, checks it out, and says the framing is spot on, calling it pro. Fatas looks pretty roughed up and asks if they're done with Ajin. Min-jae smirks, thinking they can turn the video into something great. He gets a little sinister, imagining captions like Bully Ajin and the collab. On the rooftop, our guy plops down on the ground and scratches his head. He looks at his hand and lets out a sigh of relief. Just then, Nuna shows up and asks why he looks so down. He wonders why she even came back to school. She says he ignored her text, so she got bored. Then she spots something on his hand and asks about it, but he just says he fell and it's not her business. Getting a bit annoyed, she questions if he really just fell, looking surprised. She thinks he's not fooling her and guesses he must have punched someone. He replies that having good reflexes doesn't mean he goes around throwing punches. He snaps at her, saying if she gets caught, they're both in trouble because outsiders aren't allowed up there. She asks if he remembered what she told him a few days back, and he seems a bit lost. She brings up how his nose bled twice and he starts zoning out. He thinks back to their chat about the clues connected to Jun-gu and Min-jae's real intentions. He also recalls that Min-jae actually said sorry. Nuna is totally shocked, while he feels disgusted and has this urge to take him down but isn't sure how. Nuna calls it sad. He admits that with how he feels right right now he can't even defend himself, let alone get back at anyone. He looks pretty bummed out, but Nuna, all pumped, says that special training kicks off today. In the next scene, our guy is totally taken aback when he sees they've arrived at a training center with kids practicing. He asks if this is their training spot, and she laughs, saying it's not what he expected. He thought English Taekwondo was just a joke, but Nuna playfully wraps her arm around his neck, grinning, and tells him to get ready for it. As the kids keep practicing and chanting about humanity and wisdom, Nuna jumps in, teasing them about telling the master and still looking for fights. The kids light up when they see her and rush over to give her hugs. Then someone approaches, greeting her after what feels like ages and calls her nosy. Our guy runs over and realizes it's actually Jerry, the Taekwondo master, who jokes about why her face still looks so punchable. Right after that, our guy just bows. Nuna introduces him as Ajin, the friend she mentioned earlier. Jerry is all polite and jokes that she's got a new boyfriend now. The kids chime in, teasing that she would never date this skinny guy. Nuna plays it cool, saying they'd make a cute couple, but our guy is clearly not into it. Suddenly, Jerry's face gets all tense when he sees what's happening. He tries to act chill. Nuna asks about Yuk Young, but Jerry just says she's busy and then turns to our guy, telling him not to worry about her boyfriend. Our guy insists he's not a boyfriend. Jerry pushes down on his shoulder a bit too hard, making him wince. Nuna asks Jerry to guess if they look good together, but our guy couldn't care less. Jerry jokes that he'll come back for him once he gets stronger. Our guy looks completely lost as Jerry waves goodbye to Nuna while she walks off. He can't believe she's really leaving him behind. Jerry yells out to our guy to check if he's good, but he looks totally lost. He starts sweating like crazy when he spots a bunch of excited kids behind him. A little later, Nuna is in a car with someone called Pacific Blue Whale. He asks if she's on the move, and she says she just dropped off the young master. He tells her to keep what she does under wraps from our guy for now, and she agrees but thinks he probably has an idea already. He wonders if our guy would be down to drive, but she's not sure. He feels it's too early to say. Then he brings up Junu, saying he used to drive too. They figured out who the Werecker is, and to catch him, they need to track down Junu. To do that, they need someone just like him, which is why they want our guy's help. Nuna thinks it's too soon and says she'll decide when he's ready. He checks if she gets it and mentions this plan is also about avenging her parents. He says she'll get some orders soon and he trusts her driving skills. She totally gets it. After hanging up, she lets out a sigh of relief. So our guy is stuck in the middle of these kids who are making his life miserable. He just wants them to knock it off. They're loud and tease him for being weak. Then, someone jumps in and asks who he is. He seems a bit lost, but manages to say hi. She can't help but compliment him on being such a nice, polite kid. Jerry spots her and is about to fill her in on our guy's situation. The kids are buzzing, spilling the tea that he's Nuna's boyfriend. She asks if he's the friend Nuna talked about and if he's looking for special training. Jerry gives a nod. Turns out she's Yuk Young, the instructor's wife. Our guy introduces himself and insists he's not Nuna's boyfriend. Yuk Young notices it's the same old drama, same situation as usual. Jerry's sweating like crazy. He tells everyone it's time to go home and quickly changes the subject. Yuk Young tells the kids to chill out. Our guy breathes a big sigh of relief. Jerry says, "Let's go," but that just throws him off since it's not really over yet. He still needs to drop the kids off. Yuk Young reassures him that everyone's got their seatbelts on, and they hit the road while the kids keep joking around. As they drop off all the students, Yuk Young tells everyone they did a good job. Harry's in a good mood while our guy looks totally wiped out. He thinks babysitting requires a lot of energy and can't wrap his head around how they're calling this training. He feels like he at least picked up some punching skills, but he's still confused about what kind of training this actually is. Out of nowhere, he dozes off and someone has to wake him up. He apologizes for crashing and Harry tells him to get out. When our guy heads out, he asks where they are heading next. Harry keeps it simple and says they're testing if he's ready for real training. Then he drops the bomb that he needs to run back to the training hall, which is 15 kilometers away. He tells our guy to keep it simple and wishes him good luck, leaving our guy totally lost and scratching his head. He wonders if Harry's for real, since he has no clue how to get there. He checks his phone only to find out Harry actually took it with him. So, our guy starts running after the car, yelling for them to wait and calling them crazy foreigners. Yuk Young checks in on him, asking if he's keeping up, while Harry comments that the kid's too soft. Yuk Young asks if he's being too harsh, but he snaps back saying no way. He mentions it's his first time doing this and says Nuna wanted them to help someone special. She agrees, saying they have to do it right if they're going to go for it. Harry keeps pushing our guy to run laps, and meanwhile he's just chasing after them, begging them to stop. And hey, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to zuckermanhwa for more epic recaps coming your way.